Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Welcome everybody, inshallah, to tonight's session of Friday Night Lights. Summer has officially begun. All of the exams are done. At least university, high school, I think y'all are still in. People are still, high school's over too?
Over.
Okay, great. And so
Middle school over, elementary school over.
everybody's done?
Not everybody, like some.
So the kids are in the house full time now?
In this area, yes.
Okay. So alhamdulillah, so we thought it'd be really appropriate to have a discussion on taking advantage of the summer, and the summer in particular. The topic is sins of the summer, because there are certain things that are very particular to the summer, and some of you have already shared, pointed out some of those, inshallah ta'ala, and we look to address more over the course of the night. That's the goal, so that we can avoid them and inshallah take advantage of the summer and have the best summer that we could possibly have. That's the idea. And Sheikh, this is a topic that I know that you've prepared before and talked about before. What inspired you to this topic, sins of the summer?
So this is like something I grew up, like even high school, talking about, listening my teachers talk about. Because in the summer, a lot of people have a lot of time in their hands. And there's a particular sins that are very common during the summer. And shaitan sometimes make you dumber in the summer, you know, and trick you and make you do a lot, like involve in this haram thing. So it's not only that you waste and you don't take advantage of it, it actually became like fire back. So I thought that would be a good year ago, I gave a khutbah about that. But I think that's something, a good reminder for all of us to talk about these. And these are not restricted to the summer. They're common in the summer, but something that I think a discussion that we can benefit from, inshallah ta'ala. It's like there is certain, like I remember one of the khutbahs that I still remember I attended when I was in high school. It's called Munkaratul Buyut.
Okay.
The sins that are done in the houses. There are certain sins are so common in the house of the Muslims. And inside the Muslim's house, there are certain sins practiced and so common there. So that was very powerful khutbah. I still remember that when I was in high school.
MashaAllah.
And it was even printed in a book by Sheikh Muhammad al-Munajjid.
MashaAllah. Sheikh Kamal, do you remember any khutbahs from high school?
Oh, easily, yes. I was about to say that I used to think that vacation was haram. For many years, I believed the vacation was haram. Because
Virginia is just this amazing place.
This is not Virginia.
Okay.
These are, and Sheikh Walid knows this, in the 90s, you would get all these cassettes that come out, as-sayf and this, all the haram in the summer and all that stuff. So I remember listening to one of those cassettes, this is in the 90s, and the Sheikh said, the Muslim does not go on vacation. Because the Muslim is on all the time. You don't stop and take a break and take a vacation. You're always on. You're always in da'wah mode, always in learning mode, always in memorization mode. And, it's just the Sheikh who said it. So I believe that for many years. I just thought, vacation is not a good thing. Muslims don't go on vacation because the Sheikh said it. And then I discovered it's halal. So I had to make up like 9 years worth of vacations immediately.
The PTO transferred over.
Is it the Sheikh or it is you?
It's probably both of us. I'm not giving that Sheikh a break. He said it. I remember very well. He said, that Muslim does not go on vacation. And I know, actually, now later on, Taban, I understand the context of how in certain countries people go out on these vacations and they purposely go out with the intention of haram.
And they leave countries and they go to Europe and they go to all these places.
Where the haram is permissible. And I would remember all these cassettes would be like, Thailand, and people would go there for bad intentions. So it's probably more me than the Sheikh, really.
Okay. So
I think a lot of time people don't know how to words their. Yes, I don't think Muslim ever be in vacation. I 100% agree. In a context that you can, even when I go vacation, I still pray my 5 times. I don't have vacation from Salah.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm exempt. Even if we go vacation, I still don't do the haram, don't watch the haram. So if that's what vacations, like if you're taking it like literally.
you never go on vacation from being Muslim.
From the
Yes.
deen, yeah.
From being
Yeah.
Muslim.
Very good. So, I mean, just because we have a limited amount of time and we can definitely go in many different tangents, I want to just organize it. Yes.
I had a talk with one of my kids. So I said, so summer is here, inshallah. Hey, we want to make sure that we pray more in the masjid. And we go, it's summer. You know? It's like, oh, I thought summer, like, we don't go, like, we break. So, see? A break from practice.
From everything. Huh?
You know, from everything. That's not how it is. And I think that's why it is I'm glad that we're talking about that.
So I guess there are some categories that we need to look at. And probably the first category is the category of time itself. Taking advantage of time. The Prophet ﷺ says, نِعْمَتَانْ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ الصِّحَّةُ وَالْفَرَاغُ, that there are two blessings that many people take for granted. The first is health, and the second is spare time. And especially when a person has the entire summer off, so if they're students, it just seems like an endless amount of time that a person has. But this is an advantage. This is something that's easily taken for granted, but it's also an opportunity for incredible growth in many different fields. Whatever a person's endeavor is. But I think the importance of having a goal that you set out with at the beginning of the summer and seeking out that goal, whether it's education, whether it's physical, whether it's work. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he said, I hate to see a person who's not working for either their deen or their dunya. They're not taking advantage of either of them. They're not investing in either of them.
He used a nice word. You know what it is? قال إني أكره أن أرى الرجل سبهللا.
Yeah.
Sabahlala. It has a nice sound to it.
It's just kind of like swinging, kind of, not doing anything.
Sabahlala.
Yeah.
Very rare to hear this word in Arabic.
So Shaykh, about us taking advantage of time, what advice would you have as far as the taking advantage of time, specifically taking advantage of time while you're young?
First of all, I want to say that every single moment of your life, you will be asked about it. I want you to keep that in mind. So it's not like I'm off. There is no such thing as I'm off. Every moment of your life, وعن حياته وعن شبابه فيما أبلاه وعن عمره فيما أفناه. You will be asked about your life. You will ask about your days, your nights, summer, winter, doesn't matter. You will be asked about these days. You will ask about the 24 hours every day. And you will be asked twice about your time. About your time at large, and specifically about your youth time. If you are 15 all the way to 40, you will be asked twice about this era of your life. So make sure that you understand that. You don't want to be meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all your records showing nothing but games and things that will not benefit you. What do you want to do for the summer? I want to exercise. That's good, but that's it. I want to do, for example, learn theater. Okay, you want to learn how to act, but what else? That's just the only thing in the Day of Judgment? You're going to come and show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your record? Actually, these things will not remain in your record, because in the Day of Judgment, only the good and the bad will remain in your record. So make sure that you understand that concept very well. لَقَدْ أَحْصَاهُمْ وَعَدَّهُمْ عَدًّا وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. Hassan al-Basri said, أَحْصَى أَنفَاسَهُمْ نَفَسًا نَفَسًا. You'll be asked about every single breath, every single second of your life. So make sure that this is clear as the summer coming. That, you know what, is no time, people speaking of killing time, but the reality is time is killing them and taking away from your life. So take full advantage of it, because you will not have that time back, especially if you're young. Take full advantage of the summer to improve yourself, improve your skills, and make sure to understand wasting time completely. And wasting time, it means you do something haram or you miss obligations. That's a sin, every moment of it. Make sure that you be careful about that.
I always tell people killing time is killing yourself, because that's what your life is. It's just time. You kill time, you're killing yourself for those moments. You know, I have a summer that I regret until now. This summer was over 20 years ago, and I still regret it. So when summer came, my dad told me, on the way to work, I'll drop you off at my friend's. He's a mechanic. I'll drop you off at his shop. And on the way back from work, I'll pick you up. It's already on the way. So I said, no, that's okay, and whatever. I just didn't do it. And I just spent the whole summer just like this. I didn't do anything. And there was no internet. I just didn't do anything. Until now, that summer bothers me. Because until today, like I can do engine repair, you know, not that deep. Like deeper I can go into, like, you know, change the water pump or whatever. But I can't do deep engine stuff. And I would have learned it that summer, and I missed that opportunity. So even if you don't care now, you will care one day. And I'm talking even before you get to the day of judgment, that you will care one day, that I wish I learned some skills. So I want to talk about learning skills and things of that sort in this summer. And I love when Sheikh Wali says, don't get dumber in the summer. Advance, learn something new. You know, because you always want to be improving, and you always want to be advancing as a human being and as an intellectual. You always want to be moving forward, not staying still. So, like I was talking to a young man today, and he was telling me that he enrolled in a program at the university, even though he's a high schooler, but it's going to teach, it's 4 days, and they're going to teach you how to build a drone. Like everything. You're going to build the base, you're going to build the body, and put the motors in and everything. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And that's good, because a lot of youth don't really have too many skills. Besides video games, you find very, very few skills. Like in my last 10 years of traveling around the country, I met one brother who built his own sofa, and one brother who does woodworking. And beyond that, it's just video games, kebab, you know, chicken. That's it. So it's really sad.
Knowing how to make kebab and chicken?
No, just eating it. Eating it. Yeah, I mean, 2 summers ago was that COVID summer. Some of the parents would drop their kids off, because the masjid was closed, right? They would drop their kids off at my house, and I had all these electric scooters, and I would teach them how to fix them and how to do all these repairs, which I taught myself in that summer, but I also taught myself welding in that summer. So I bought a welding machine. It was like, it always bothered me, that was my one weakness. I don't know how to weld metal. I can do woodworking, fix small engines, all these things. I was like, I gotta learn welding. So I bought a welding machine, and then I just watched some YouTube videos on how to do it. And every video is different until one video just gave this description, it clicked with me. And then from until today, if Brother Arafat has a problem and something that he needs to weld, he calls me like, hey, can you bring the welding machine and get over here, you know? But like just learning something and not spending the entire summer just doing nothing or something that's not beneficial.
Really quick, I think it's an opportunity here for a plug as far as the programs that are happening in this summer in the masjid here as far as learning.
Yeah.
There's the
Elm Tree Summer Program.
Elm Tree Summer Program.
Yeah, so that's like 4 weeks, Monday to Wednesday from 11 to 2. And yes, we do our Quran class, we do our Islamic studies class, but then we do skills. One of the years, we taught the kids how to sweep. And many kids don't know how to
Sweep
hold
what,
it.
with a broom?
Sweep with a broom. Just how do you hold it properly? Where do you stand? Many people stand in the trash and keep bringing it towards themselves. That's wrong. You know? I found adults teaching kids, they didn't know how to hold the broom properly. So how do you hold the broom properly? How do you mop? We brought wood and saws, and the kids saw the piece of wood for the first time in their life. They said, I've never cut a piece of wood in my life. We brought nails and hammers, and they beat a nail into a piece of wood, and they said, I've never hammered something in my entire life. And then last year, we brought a car, parked it out here, and every day a different class would go, and they'd learn how to fix a flat tire. Like, how do you not know how to fix a flat tire?
Can you believe that? That's a very common, by the way.
SubhanAllah. And there are many other things like that, but like these basic skills. So I'm not disclosing what this year's skills are. I'll let you know as soon as
What
I know.
age group is that for, Sheikh?
This is this is from age 5 until
25.
No.
Okay.
Somewhere around 15, 5 to 15.
5 to 15.
You know? And even then, like I was speaking to one young man today, and he said, I don't want to come to it. It's the summer. It's the same mentality. I don't want to come. And I was telling him, let's be honest. If you don't come, what are you going to do? You're going to watch videos, like YouTube, cat falls into the water, stuff like that. And you're going to play video games, true or false? He said, yes, but it's the summer. And I told him about the summer that I regret, and I said, yeah, You gotta learn, you gotta advance, always. I always talk about that Stanley Kubrick, that's director in Hollywood. He died now. But I read something about him and it made me jealous. Stanley Kubrick would go into a public library and he would go into a section that he would never go to, like something I'm completely not interested in. He would go into that section and he would pick a book that he would never in his life pick, and he would force himself to read it cover to cover, so that when he writes movies, he's just got like a more broad spectrum to draw from. And I'm like, this guy is working so hard, forcing himself, and just for his craft. And here we are, we're not able to do something just to improve ourselves, to make ourselves better, to move forward. It's sad, wallah.
Jazakallah khair. Sheikh, to jump to another topic, you talk a lot about the obligations in the summer, missing obligations. So if we could talk about, because sins are two types, right? There's doing something that's haram, but there's also the sin of missing an obligation. So if you could talk, Sheikh, about Salah in the summertime.
One of the things, two obligations I want to talk about that a lot of people miss in the summer. The number one is Salah, and especially Salat al-Fajr. So they stay late in the night, either watching movies or playing games or whatever. They don't need to sleep early. So then they miss Salat al-Fajr. I just want you to understand, the Muslim jurists, the Muslim scholars, debated among themselves if someone intentionally did not wake up for Fajr prayer, he's still considered Muslim or not Muslim. There's a huge debate between the fuqaha about that. Some scholars consider that non-Muslim, exit Islam. If he dies a kafir. Can Shaykh Shaykh Abdul Razak Afifi said, the only thing I want you to learn from this example, that there is no brain to put yourself in a so risky situation like this, where the scholars debate, he's still Muslim or not? If this person died, should we bury him like a Muslim, bring him to pray janazah, or do we just take him like any animals die and just dump him in a hall? Just one salah. I might not lean towards that opinion, but that exists, and they have a good argument. So missing salah is a very serious business. Allah said, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. A great punishment from Allah for those who yasha an salat, who prays, but sometimes they will delay the salah until the time out. Or they will not pray. They will just intentionally neglect it. So Salat al-Fajr, Salat al-Isha, so Salat al-Asr, Salat al-Maghrib in summer. Some people go to a movie. Okay, you go into a movie at 7 o'clock. When the movie will finish? Oh, it's what's that? Doctor, whatever. Well, a Batman, 3 hours movie. طيب, you're going to finish at Isha. What about Maghrib? I'll join it with Isha. What allowed you to do that? How can you do that? At least if you want to arrange your time for going, if you're going to do that, at least don't do it during the prayer time. You go work out, and you know what? Some silly excuses. I'm sweating. Okay? Sweating still does not prevent you from praying. You should pray. And praying is a very important thing. And I would say, now you have no excuse not to come to pray in the masjid.
Why not?
Like in the school time, I understand you need to sleep early because you go to next day to school, in the school time, you have homework, whatever you do. But now in the summer, you don't have any excuse not to come to the masjid. In Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm blind. I don't have someone to take me to the masjid. And I am far. And, the area between me and the masjid is not very smooth. Blind. Can I pray at home? He said, yes. Then he said, no. I couldn't find an excuse for you to pray at home. If you hear the adhan. قال تسمع النداء قال نعم قال لا أجد لك من عذر. I can't find excuse for you.
Two
So
questions, Sheikh.
for you as a young man today, if you guys, young men, especially young men, if you're not going to come to the masjid, at least in the summer, who's going to come to the masjid?
What about young women? What about young women?
It's not obligated on them to pray in the masjid, but obligated on them to pray on time.
Okay. I have another question with regards to women, because I get this question a lot, which is summertime, I'm outside, that delay of salah happens because they are outside. And it's like, if I pray in public, then men are going to see me, so they either pray sitting down or they wait until they go home to combine.
No, you pray. If you're in a mall, you go to a dressing room and you can pray in there. If you're in a public place, you just go. Don't pray in the middle of people's way.
Okay.
Go on the side. Even if people see you, it's okay.
This idea of a woman is...
Allah, if this is what it is, don't go outside at all.
You know,
Somebody said, no, Sheikh, but I make sujood, I make ruku'.
Yeah?
Yeah, don't make ruku' in front of, behind you, a line of people at Starbucks, and you're making ruku' and sujood next to them.
Okay.
Nobody's saying that, but you can go like on the side where it's an area. Just be smart, common sense, and you will find a place.
I
in the
heard some
parking lot.
mashayikh who said pray seated in the mall for the women.
This salah is invalid. If you pray sitting, this salah is invalid. Period.
Was it the same guy who said vacation is haram?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, salat. The only way to say sitting, if you cannot physically stand up, or you are in a moving, like in airplane or in the boat, where it's not saddle, so you're allowed to pray sitting.
And not in a car,
case.
because you can park a car.
Unless you cannot, like it's a bus, and you cannot stop the car.
Okay.
You want to know something strange? And this is a question for you. So, 10 years ago, I was living in a Muslim country overseas.
Yes.
And I was still teaching in America. So once a month, I'll take 2 flights to get here. The flight leaves right before Fajr. So Fajr hits while we're in the air. And I'll take that flight every month. And in that year, just once did I see someone pray Fajr. And it was actually a revert, this blonde guy. And I've never seen anyone pray Fajr. And I've actually had, I could call them like students of knowledge or...
You mean on the plane?
Yeah. And
Okay.
they would tell me, when I travel, I don't pray on the plane. When I get home, I just pray everything when I get home. How easy is it? You traveled. How easy is it to pray on the plane?
Me? Yeah, it's very easy.
What do you do? If you give us a quick...
So, you sit in your spot, say Allahu Akbar, you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, you recite another surah with it.
Is that easy?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if you've...
You don't need to make it like so obvious. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil. Everybody like looking at you.
Yeah. Saudi Airlines have a little musalla. You actually stand and stuff, But some other places, and sometimes, like even Emirates, I've seen people standing up because the stewardesses, everyone understands this is Salah, and you see the direction. But for the most part, you can just pray in your seat.
Yeah, you have to face the Qibla first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this.
What if you're going west?
Yeah, that's the problem. If you're going west, you have to turn, like to do your best, like let's say Allahu Akbar. You go ruku like this, then you stand it. Then sujood, go a little bit more. Some people think that they have to have that, the tray table, and you have to touch it to make sujood in it.
Of course. And the steering wheel if you're in the car?
No, just you go more farther than ruku'. And the ruku', then the standing, or the sitting straight.
So
I
Sheikh-
traveled once with a brother, his name Jihad.
Okay.
Oh my God. We're going Houston, Amsterdam to a Muslim country. I think Saudi Arabia. Never flew him before, so I don't know the guy much, like in travel. Anyway, and this was after 9/11. So we go to the gate, and I want to tell him, wait, not our turn yet. So I forgot his name is Jihad.
Okay.
Completely. So I said, Jihad!
Oh my God.
It was IH here. Literally, I said, Jihad, there is about 100 people. All of them look like them. In the same moment, they look like this. Then I turned. I said, what is that guy? Like, I turned my back with them. I
Who's
look at the
calling,
guy.
huh?
Where is that guy? I got out of it. So
MashaAllah.
that's the first one. The second one, we went inside we're in the airplane. You know, three of us next to each other. MashaAllah is a kid, a blonde, big beard. Anyway, he goes to the to the bathroom and comes by, I don't know, taking a shower or to make wudu, I don't know. Like all wet and like this. He looked at his watch, he said to me, "Is it time?"
Is it time?
I changed I don't know this guy. Is it time? Yani, come on, man, give me a break.
Wow.
That's just ridiculous. Is it time? And everybody was tense in the airport.
Of course.
Because of us.
Of course.
You know, I think we got stopped at Amsterdam because of him. And
Yeah.
he's like crazy. Like, you know, anyway, so.
Sheikh, realistically, people are out for whatever reason, wedding, family visit, whatever. It's 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm sleepy now. And I'm just going to close my eyes for a couple of minutes before Fajr.
Don't.
So what do? They just
Pray.
force yourself to stay awake.
قل الله أحد، قل رب الفلق.
No, Fajr isn't for another 2 hours. It's 3 a.m. I'm
wait.
exhausted.
I mean, put the alarm.
But I'm probably not going to wake up. I
If you
feel
don't
like.
wake up, خلاص, alhamdulillah.
But the important thing is that a person actually tries.
Yeah, try. Sometimes I put the alarm, I didn't wake up.
So you
I'm
don't.
so tired, I'm exhausted. It happened to everybody, everyone. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam happened to him twice. That Sahaba radiallahu anhum, somebody slept. He overslept. He said, Ya Rasulullah, لَقَدْ أَخَذَ بِنَفْسِ الَّذِي أَخَذَ بِنَفْسِ. Ya Rasulullah, I was trying to keep up with the time, but I slept. You know, and sleeping took over my heart.
So a person knows the difference between when they're sincere and when they're not, and when they care and when they're not. So if a person has an exam or they have a job interview or they have whatever it is at 7 a.m., they know the steps that they would take to actually match it.
Absolutely.
And Allah says, بَلِ الْإِنسَانُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَاذِيرَهُ.
But there is an important point too.
Okay.
Which is, you're not allowed to put yourself in a situation where you know for sure you're not going to wake up for Fajr. So for example, I go to the gym to exercise at 11. I know I'm going to end at 12:30 or 1 o'clock. I know for sure I'm not going to be able to wake at 4:30 or 5. Going to gym at that time is haram. Because you know for sure you're going to wake up. If you know for sure that will lead you, man, I'm not allowed to do that. I know if I start a movie at 12 midnight, I know by 2 o'clock I have to go to sleep. I'm not going to be able to stay. If I know that, it's haram for me to watch. Regardless of if you're watching Sheikh Umar Sulaiman at that time, it's still haram. If it's going to prevent you from waking up for Fajr. It is haram to make qiyam al-layl, not watching, to pray in the night, to stay for praying night prayer. If you know that staying in the night prayer will prevent you from waking up for Fajr, to read Quran. Because that's wajib, obligations. All these things are recommended.
Jameel. So speaking of gyms, dress code, Sheikh. I think that's the next thing that we got to talk about when it comes to the summertime. We got to talk about one of the major challenges, which is lowering the gaze.
Oh yeah. A lot of brothers think because women have hijab and we focus on the women's dress code that brothers don't have a dress code at all. So actually just last Ramadan someone came to me complaining. He said when brothers going to sujood, we start to see all the plumbers, what they call the plumbers crack, yani, you know?
Becomes a crack house.
Yeah, it becomes a crack house, exactly. And this was an issue all over. Like at the university, sisters would come at the Jum'ah and complain. Like tell these brothers to dress up properly. So you've got a dress code yourself, you know, shorts, cover the knees or up to the knees, fine. But then a guy comes in with something up to here. This is not even manly at this point. Show us half your thighs and stuff. But the gym, you know, there's some things that the gym we just take for granted, like I'm going to the gym.
It's now a fashion to wear the shorts that all the way half to your thigh.
Yeah.
And to bring the thing
You know,
down.
I was actually thinking for like the past 5-6 years, I'm like, man, it's really easy to be a young man in America right now. Like the fashion is just on track with the sunnah. It's so easy. It's fashionable to have beards. You guys aren't getting the headaches of all of the mocking of growing your beard. It's fashionable now. The high water pants are fashionable now, having it above your ankles. Oh, this is amazing. And then the shorts came out. And the shorts became shorter and became shorter and became shorter. And the brothers are just following in line. And it's just really unfortunate. So keeping it above or below your thigh is a requirement. You should keep your shorts below your thigh, whether it's fashionable or not.
All right, so in the gym.
And just one last thing, I'm sorry. There's only one city in America where even without, when beards were not fashionable, it was fashionable. Do you know where that city is?
No, I
It's
don't.
the great city. Kahari, where are you at? Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the only city in America where I believe Muslims are culture creators, not culture consumers. Everywhere else, Muslims are culture consumers. Whatever everybody does, that's what we do. Half the brothers, unfortunately, are not growing their beards because it's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They're doing it because it's the sunnah of James Harden. Right? It's the sunnah of whoever it is, But in Philadelphia, the Muslims there, they were the ones who made everybody else have beards. They're the ones who made everybody else, because their confidence and their strength and their commitment to the deen actually transcended them. And so people use Muslim slang and people use all of that, in particular in Philadelphia. But I hope that we, as Muslims, continue to become culture creators. So people follow us. We don't just follow everybody in what they do, how they dress, all of that type of stuff.
Nice.
I was having a discussion with two folks. We were talking about the gym and training and all that. And the way they were talking about how, they said, I don't listen to music. One of them said, I don't listen to music. But when I'm working out, I have to listen to music. And the other guy's like, yes, of course. Just like, and they were both talking to me in a way that said, don't say anything. There is no debate about this. It has to be okay. It's okay for this kid.
I heard also somebody told me, you cannot eat. He said, it's unimaginable that you can work out without music. I don't work out and I don't listen to music, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I was telling them, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Workout, I'm listening to Quran straight up, or I'm listening to lectures, like just non-stop. That's the only things I listen to. What happened? And I have better gains than both of you. No, I didn't say that part. But like, why? Who said this? You just told yourself that, or you're making an excuse for yourself. It's absolutely not true. Many people
Sheikh,
work
they
out.
said the beat, the
the
hype that comes with music. Come on, don't miss it like dismiss it.
I'll dismiss it. We used to train without anything.
Yeah, it is.
What happened?
Come on, man. Since the Walkman, like you know Walkman, yeah, they have the things around the ear. I mean, it's very common.
Yeah, I know.
It's common, but a lot of people, even in that realm, will say that it's cheating. Like a person really becomes an athlete, they become when they don't need these types of things, when they don't need the distraction. So you'll find, you guys know that name, David, what is he? David Grogan, the like super intense guy. The guy who breaks every record and stuff like that. Like he talks about it being cheating. You have to be able to work out without anything and just experience your pain and go into that deep place and stuff like that. Like, so
I guess it comes down, even if somebody said that's haram,
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never make things impossible to be done without haram. And it must be done without using the haram thing. Anyway,
Okay, so then there's the other aspect. So
Nasheed also can do.
Yeah, nasheed. If you like nasheed, listen to nasheed.
But beyond the music, because I don't think that's unique to the summer necessarily too much, but the clothes for sure. So summertime you have the lowering the gaze, which becomes a challenge.
In summer, before you go to, in summer, a lot of people go to concerts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concerts in summer. You know, just, I don't want to give you, I shouldn't tell you where to go. But a lot of people go on the beaches, in South Beach, like in the South
So-
Beach and
so-
in
so-
Galveston. There's all these concerts every night. You know, people go and listen, and like in downtown, and like there's a lot of like, you know, musical festivals and stuff in the summer. There's a lot of that. I don't know. I never, alhamdulillah, been to any one. I don't think you guys know, but maybe you met people who've been to these places. If we can know, besides just the music, what else a problem being in these places?
In a concert?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one's ever admitted to me they've been to concerts.
I mean, I've never been to a concert in my life, so I don't know what to tell you.
Nobody's ever told you they went to a concert?
No, I've known
What's
lots of
in
people who have
concert?
gone to concerts.
Number one issue is drugs. Yeah, drugs. You know, officers telling me, an officer was telling me that most of the cases overdose, stuff like that. Have you ever gotten ER drugs because concerts? Yeah, the doctors tell you too. You know, it just they drug kids without them knowing. What else happened in concert? Number two problem. There's even worse than mixing. Drinking. What else? There's something has to do with drinking and drugs. Rape. Many cases, the officer told me once, also many cases of rapes happen when they get you drunk, they get you drugged. Actually, I have a case of a Muslim sister. Her family came. She got pregnant in one of these concerts. She went to there, she got drugged, she got raped. She's pregnant. They asked me, can we do an abortion? That's just not far away. That's inside the community.
You know, this is not our topic, but I just want you to think about this until this is our topic. Why is it that when we have loud music and a lot of people, we have all the worst haram? Drugs, alcohol, rape, zina, intermingling, tabarruj, you know, women wearing. Why? If we said we're going to play Quran or we're going to do a khatam of the Quran, who do you think will come? The nicest people, people in hijab, niqab, brothers with beards. Salamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. We'll talk about music one day, inshallah, but just want you to think, how can it be halal and it only attracts the major sins? Just think about that. How is that possible? But that's another day.
Yeah, we're not even talking about what's the message.
Yeah.
So anyway, because I think this happened a lot in summer too, and can people be attracted to go, especially if we travel and stuff like that? So take this very serious. Believe me, and nobody immune from it.
Lowering the gaze, Sheikh. Attempt number 3. What do you got?
You know,
I want you specifically, I want you to share your glasses trick. That's what I want.
Yeah, we had a lot of tricks in the old days. One of them.
Because people say like, I don't have, it's so much fitna, all of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
What creative ways do you have as far as tricks
So
goes?
and we used to do this, like not just me, some of the brothers at the university. When we were walking from one class to another, you got to pass by that one area where everyone is displaying and flaunting the feathers, and so we had the take 4 eyes like us. Take your glasses off. You just see blurs. You don't know the difference between Jazak and Edwina, so it doesn't matter. We just walking. All right, that's one. We just take our glasses off.
As long as there's no touching.
As long as there's no touching, and don't be like I can't see. All right. Sorry. All right. We used to read books on the way to the next class. So now, if you're gonna get hurt, don't do it. But you hold your book like this, and with your peripheral vision, you can see everywhere you're going.
In Houston, you'll fall in a ditch.
Yeah. And then the other thing
Now I guess you have the phone.
Now, khalas, the phone, yeah. Or we'd engage, like making dhikr, and I always tell people, it's hard to be making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and looking at the haram. And if you did, it would look very awkward. It would be like this, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar.
I don't know, Sheikh. I've been in certain Muslim countries where the guy honking the horn at a girl, the guy honking the horn at a girl in the street, he's saying all types of dhikr.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Aywa, mashallah, tabarakallah, Allahu
And that's
Akbar.
why that first point was the best one. Because you're being real, you're being sincere, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, I really love this. Ibn Abbas, the scholar, the companion, he was asked about a verse in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. So, وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ, yes. So, Allah knows what, the deception, or there's a better word, the
The
eyes.
treachery of the eyes.
The treachery, yes, that's the word I was looking for. He knows the treachery of the eyes and what the hearts conceal. So he asked Ibn Abbas, what does that mean? And look at the way Ibn Abbas explained the verse to him. He didn't give him, heavy stuff. Perhaps it was a simple person who asked him. He said, that's a man sitting with other men like this. And then a woman walks by and they all look down. And then when they're not aware, he looks at her. There she is. Oh, there. See, I didn't have to move my head. Just with your eyes, kid. He says, he pretends to them that he's not looking at her, he's looking away. And then when they're not aware, he takes a look at her. And Allah knows that in his heart, he would even wish to see something more private than that. So,
Yeah, a sister about to ride the car.
that's when you look
He
away.
knows when she goes, that means her legs will show. Because that's obviously usually happen. He's just waiting for that. Just fly.
Ya akhi, in
That's
Jahiliyyah.
kha'inat al-ayn. This
Yeah.
is simple. So what about the full display?
Yeah. In Jahiliyyah, people who weren't Muslim, when they would help a woman get somewhere, when she's about to get on the camel, they look away, they walk away. When she's on the camel, they come back.
Chivalry.
This is guy in Jahiliyyah.
Yeah.
Chivalry. Now, she opens the door, everyone's waiting.
Why you think they say ladies first?
So that nobody sees anything, huh?
No, so they can't look at them.
So we can look at that.
I think even one of the things with regards to lowering the gaze is that a person puts themselves in a position to protect their gaze. So it's not even just a matter of when you're in the moment, but proactively protecting yourself. So I remember I had a friend of mine who lived in Connecticut, and he was telling me, which is right next to New York City, and he was telling me, he's like, I hate going to New York. I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I just hate going to it. He's like, I try my best to never go there. I was like, why? And he was like, because when I go there, he's like, in Connecticut, in my suburbs and stuff like that, he was like, I don't see any munkar, basically. And he's like, I go to New York and I see everything. And to me, I disagreed. But two, I was also desensitized. And number three, I appreciated his sensitivity. Like, it's coming from a place where he's trying to protect his gaze. So I want to give you an example. Last week, I finally go to the gym. And I go to a gym that's pretty popular. And I go there at 1:30, a time that I'll never go again, in the afternoon.
No.
And when I went there, it was just a meat market. It was like the gaze, I appreciated,
G-A-Z-E, gaze?
G-A-Z-E, yes. It was really hard.
I don't know what kind of gym this was.
No, it was just, and there was lots of brothers that I ran into, friends and stuff like that there, and I'm just like, I learned to appreciate the bench press. Because I've never appreciated the bench press as much before. Because the bench press, you're looking straight at the ceiling, there's nothing there. But I thought to myself, like, you can't go at this time anymore. You got to figure out 4:30 a.m., 9:30 p.m. You have to figure out a time where you can protect your gaze, and you have to prioritize that. A lot of times people, they're not paying attention to this. They just go whenever they need to go, and if they see something along the way, then they just figure that out later. But also, even when you're traveling, like, don't go to Miami in June or July. Don't go to Cancun at that time either. You're not going to like what you see, or it's not going to be healthy for you what you see. So really prioritizing that.
In summer, a lot of people go to pool.
Yep.
To beaches,
Going to the beaches.
Water park, where so much. So my question is, so as a Muslim, I can't do anything of this? Like, I can't do any one of these, like, water sports activities?
So I've known people who have gone to the beach fine, but they'll go to the beach at a time when they know that it's not going to have a lot of people. They'll go to an enclave that they know there's not going to have a lot of people. Like, they try to do what they can.
That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of time you get attacked. Oh, there's no life for us. No, you can have a lot of fun. But you know what? Just make sure that you be smart how you choose the place to go to. I know sisters go for surfing. I know group sisters, they go surfing in California, in San Diego. And they came and they talked to me about it. But you know what? The time that they go for surfing and the place that they go surfing is completely isolated. He said, Yani, I'm telling you, Sheikh, for about 2 years, I think we only saw one or two persons. And in all this time, and when they came, we just came in the water, like they have to like cover their hair and stuff like that, and they're far away. We just, whoever wants to find a space for them, you will find. You know, just don't go to the pool when it is like the peak of like all these like images that you, or even if it's a huge or big, make sure if you are with kids, you be aware of focusing on what you need. Watch your eyes and try to put yourself in a place and position where you lower your gaze. There's another point I would like you guys also to comment on it. Lowering gaze is not only for brothers, so sisters too. Allah says in the Quran.
Really?
Well, yeah. وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered women to lower their gaze as well.
From who?
From men.
Okay. What about from women? Do they have to lower their gaze from women too?
And يعني if the النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تنظر المرأة إلى عورة المرأة. A woman is not allowed to look at the awrah for another woman. So if there is another woman wearing bathing suits, you, as a woman, you're not allowed to look at her. If a woman is, wearing shorts, you're not allowed to look at her thigh or her, breast or her, that's not allowed to look at that. Also, another thing about lowering gaze, movies. This soft pornography thing that it is going on these days, and people just became so relaxed with it. Soft pornography, like what? I'm not giving you like
Netflix and all these places, yeah.
Like I'm revealing like secrets,
Yeah.
What's that episode series that is one of the most watched?
Game of Thrones. That's
Game
the one
of
I
Thrones.
know.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That was soft pornography, especially the people talk about, like, I read a whole report about it. Just taking it easy with that.
I mean, it's so much more now, Sheikh. It's almost every series, they have a formula as far as, like, there'll be nudity and all of these types of things. Even when it doesn't have anything to do with the plot, it'll just be included, and it'll be on all of them. It'll be on HBO Max and Netflix and Hulu and everything. It's in every...
So at least have the decencies to turn it off or to skip that part. I'm going to skip part of the story. Inshallah, عمرك ما شفت the story. Inshallah, you never get to know the story.
Who cares about the story?
Your deen. طيب, what if somebody tells you, I look at these things and it doesn't really affect me? Is that true?
Well, I have two things to say to that, but do you want to give him
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So someone says, I watch it and it doesn't affect me. So two things really quickly. Number one is it does affect you, but you might not be spiritually healthy enough to recognize that. So if you take someone physically, say someone who's like a world-class athlete, someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, someone like LeBron James, these guys, someone like Sheikh Kamal al-Makki, these people are so dialed into their nutrition. They're so dialed in that if they eat a slice of pizza, they'll see its effect in their game the next day, right? They're so precise with their nutrition.
It's not like someone you throw whatever.
Okay, yeah. So, but if I'm used to eating junk all the time, and I eat more junk, I don't feel any different today than I did yesterday. It didn't affect me. I just ate all of this trash, and it didn't affect me at all. Some people, our spiritual nutrition is the same way. So Imam al-Shafi'i is so in tune with his spirituality that he notices the weakness of his memory because he saw, the ankle of a woman or the shin of a woman. He notices the weakness of his memory got weaker. For that person, they say it didn't affect me, but they didn't read any Quran since Ramadan. It did affect you. They say it didn't affect me, but I haven't been able to even pray Fajr on time since Ramadan. It did affect you. That person is not spiritually healthy enough to even notice when something affects them negatively. Exactly. If you're dead, you don't feel the pain of that.
Dead wound doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. If your heart is dead, you don't feel anything.
Dead wound, touching it doesn't hurt. Only live wound hurts.
And there's also something else though.
What's the other point?
So the other point is, I really want people to understand this and to appreciate this and pay attention to this. And that is, sometimes I'll be on my timeline, right, on Twitter, and I'll see a woman in a bikini show up on my timeline. And I'm like, where did this woman come from? And I'll find that somebody that I followed liked this picture. And so now they showed up on my timeline, right? And so this is like, to me, the Prophet ﷺ said one of the rights of the public sphere is kaful adha, that you protect people from your harm. This, I feel like, is harm that came to me from this person now. Because it's not something that I was looking for, but it was presented to me because someone liked it, right? A lot of times people don't pay attention to the things that they present to other people. Now, when you're with your family and you're watching some haram scene, right? And it's like, whatever, or you're with your friends or what have you. People talk about trigger warnings. For you, it might not have affected you at all, perhaps, right? But half the country are people who are, not half the country, maybe even more than that when it comes to the male demographic, are people who have at some point in time watched pornography in their lives. And that 20-second clip or 30-second clip or 1-minute clip might have sent your brother into a relapse where they go back to watching porn now for another 6 months or another year. That 20-second clip might have caused your family member or what have you to now go into a dark abyss after they had gotten and dug themselves out of it. So paying attention to these things and protecting yourself and protecting your family and protecting your brothers and sisters, whether it be in the public sphere, online, or whether it be in your private gatherings with your family at home.
I'm glad that you mentioned this because lowering the gaze are levels in haram. Seeing a woman with her hair or whatever, that's leveled. I'm more, that's something that became very hard to manage in our country today, in our situation. But I'm worried about even the thing somebody who displaying her between the navel and the knee, a woman or a man, or pornography, or dancing, putting her behind to the camera and shaking her behind, and you just looking at in a TikTok, or a guy doing the muscles and the sweats and stuff like that, and it became fitna for the people to watch this. These are real things, real love stories. Unfortunately, everybody exposed to things don't ever underestimate how this will corrupt your heart, and it will, corrupt your soul and bring darkness to your life. Watching the pornography. In Texas Dawah Convention, a long time ago, we run a questionnaire. People coming to Islamic conference, Have you ever watched pornography one time at least in the last year, 12 months? Intentionally. Or 6 months, well, I forgot, 6 months. You watch at least one time intentionally. You went intentionally to watch. Guess what? It was about over 50% of male said yes, and was about 38% of females said yes.
Yeah.
That's a percentage.
Oh, it's much more than that now. Much more than
Now?
that.
Yeah.
Sheikh, one other aspect of summers. Oh,
But wait, I gotta
Okay,
add
okay.
something here. I want to make sure we all know that, oh, these scenes don't affect me. First of all, it's a garbage argument, okay? Even if it were real, which I don't believe it is, even if it's real that these scenes don't affect him, that doesn't make it okay. And the haram is not always, does it affect you or not? This is a true story. Yeah, I know someone, and we're all in this room 100% certain that marijuana is haram. Good. So I knew a guy, I met him myself, and he told me this story himself. He said he tried marijuana. He said the minute he smoked it, he just fell asleep, deep sleep. He said, I didn't get buzz, high, stoned, nothing. He said, I just fell asleep. And he tried it again, just put me to sleep. Fine. So we say, oh, it doesn't intoxicate him, so therefore marijuana is halal for him. No, it's not halal for him. Whether
It's like
affects you or
a
not.
guy tried to argue with me that I can drink one beer because I won't get intoxicated. But Sheikh, one major aspect of the summer, sorry, we don't have much time, but is relationships. People's circle of friends change in the summer, right? You've got your school friends, but now you've got your local friends, or it might be your family that converges and comes to join you in the city. And there also, something that we've grown up with is the idea of summer relationships, whether it's Summer Love being sung by Grease Lightning, or whether it's whether it's the idea, whether it's the idea of a summer fling.
No.
Now, Sheikh Kamal, I'm sure you've heard of something called Hot Girl Summer.
La. Why are you sure that I've heard of hot
I'm
girl
just
summer?
saying. Is
No.
there an equivalent
Never
for
heard of
guys
it.
as far as Hot Girl Summer?
What is this hot girl summer?
Sisters can tell you what a Hot Girl Summer is. But
Jahannam summer.
Jahannam Summer, yeah. But it's the idea of just being very, very,
Because summer,
it's
people
summer and it's
reveal
time
a lot
to be
of their bodies and stuff like that. So she became more attractive.
and going through relationships and all that type of stuff, if you want to call them relationships, right? You know something interesting, Sheikh Kamal, is also the way that language is used to make the haram, beautiful. Even the
Yes.
idea of a summer fling,
Yeah.
right?
Euphemisms.
Euphemisms are being used.
Right? Yeah. No. People just, nobody says, I fornicated. It's like and making love sounds like you made cupcakes with hearts on them and stuff. Slept together. Yeah, everybody slept. Good night. Khalas, we slept. Euphemisms that make the haram sound good or less. They got a lot of those. I'm not going to go through them.
But the idea of relationships in the summer.
The relationships in the summer are just as haram as in the winter.
The winter, by the way, is called cuffing season.
Oh my God.
Because in the winter, you're hibernating. So you can't have a hot summer, so you just find somebody and then you cuff them. You're stuck to this person for the winter while you're hibernating.
I see.
And then in the summer, it's time to go crazy.
And then in the fall, you let them fall, huh?
I don't know about the fall. I don't know what the fall is.
But that's interesting. Like, I'm glad that you're aware of that. So we can see how much there is so much promotion for haram
In the summer, yeah.
Vacations. Traveling is another thing. People travel a lot in the summer. And when people travel, I don't know what happened when you travel, but some people, when they travel, they just discount all the rules. Khalas, I'm traveling. Nobody knows me in this city. Nobody what happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas. No, I mean, what happened in Vegas, stay in your record.
Stay in your record,
And
exactly.
the deeds. It doesn't stay in Vegas. It stay in your record of deeds. It will be watched by Allah. What happened in Cancun, or in Mexico, what happened in any place that you go to, it will be something you're responsible for. But we think that because we're away from people that we know, that nobody see us, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Yes, when I travel, there's certain things I will lose in it. And Sharia give me that loose. For example, I can join prayers. But by the way, al-fuqaha almost, many of the fuqaha said, many scholars said, if you travel to commit a sin, you cannot join prayers. You cannot shorten prayers. You cannot use this rukhsa in haram traveling. So if your whole traveling is based on haram, that's not haram. Okay? But anyway, regardless, going back to the point that when you travel, yes, there's things to lose, like to join the prayer. For example, I might wear, shirts that I will not wear in Houston or around my community, maybe it has like a sleeveless shirt, something like that. I will not, because nobody knows me, know who I am. It's good not to be very popular, or popular. So some people don't know who you are. Sometimes it gets funny.
So you might have a little bit more fun.
Yeah, so I understand that, but there's no haram cross. And I just want to make because it's important to know the fiqh rules too. So, for example, I do believe it's to wear a short that half of your thigh showing as a man is haram. Okay? But if you're short, show the lower part of your thigh, that area above your knees, I don't believe it's haram. Personally, I believe that this is allowed. To have just a little bit above your knees. That's fine. That's not haram. But you have to cover it when you pray. Okay? And you cover your knees according to many of the fuqaha as well. Looking at women and looking at men, any looking with a desire or can lead to sexual desire, that's not allowed. Okay? So Sheikh, what kind of looking cannot lead to sexual desire? Yeah, you are on the wall wanting to the cashier and just a regular person selling you something. You just look at her, look at him, give it the stuff and move on. Looking at opposite gender is more strict towards men than women because men are visually stimulated. Like their sexual desire are visually stimulated versus women are more emotionally stimulated. That means the women don't have attractiveness and the look. No, it is. But mainly, there is more in the men than women. So for men, in looking at the opposite gender of someone for the need, business, teaching, learning, selling and buying, stuff like that, just normal thing, passing. I'm not this allowed, in my opinion, to see or to watch, even like in the news and stuff like that, just in a very general sense. I'm just saying, because some people think that what we want you guys to go walk in the street closing your eyes or we're not saying that. But there is, I think what Sheikh Kamal was saying earlier about, there is certain areas, wallahi, I don't know how, I have so much respect for you guys here in America. I've been to one of the universities in one of the, it's not in USA, it's in Canada. Sheikh, I was teaching a course there. I never in my life seen so much fitna like that day. Like so many
In Canada,
and it's so many, and everybody showing their beauty to the max, and they're all beautiful women. And I said to myself, how can young man, a Muslim, live like this every day, seeing this every day in their life, and holding themselves? This shows me that this is a true Muslim. And the same thing, every man there is so handsome too, and fit. It's not like Texas size. No, they are mashallah, very handsome men, very built, and everybody walk and well dressed. Okay, so I said to myself, mashallah, how can these sisters? It's so easy to see. It's like this to date. It's like this to commit zina, and it's so hard to get married. Haram is so easy. For you guys to be able to control yourself, I have nothing but the utmost respect for every one of you guys studying middle school, high school, college, finish college, and alhamdulillah never touch haram. A man or a woman. In my opinion, that's a great deal of accomplishment. That shows a very good iman. So don't think that we're beating on you guys in the small, I understand these big things. And I really appreciate that. And I think that your ability to abstain from the haram like this should empower you to abstain from way more than these major sins as well.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. That was a positive note to end on.
I have a nice story. There was a guy, he said he was traveling to do something, it was haram. So it's not very haram, but something haram. So he says, he just started practicing as well. So when he got in his car, he started to recite the dua of travel. So he's like, Allahumma inna nas'aluka fi safarina hadha al-birra wa taqwa. Oh Allah, we ask you in this travel of ours, righteousness and taqwa. He says, I stopped myself, I said, bir ish wa taqwa. What bir and taqwa? I'm going to do haram. وَمِنَ الْعَمَلِ مَا تَرْضَى, and what you approve of and accept of deeds. Like, I'm going to go do some haram. He said, oh Allah, in the dua, oh Allah, make easy this travel of ours. Like, why would I ask Allah that? So he said, Wallahi, as I was saying the dua, I made a U-turn, I just went back home. So, I do want to say though, in closing, you should have what you're going to read this summer, put it aside. For some people, your plan might be you're going to learn to read this summer. And by that I mean learn to become someone who reads, not actually learn how to read.
Although there's a great book called How to Read a Book.
And it's an audio version?
And there's a... No. There's a great book, his name is Adler, on how to read a book. A lot of people who learn to read have never learned to actually read.
Yeah. So maybe get that book, learn to read. You should have your reading, for the summer put aside already. It doesn't all have to be Islamic. Oh, we got Sahih al-Bukhari over here, Sunnah Abu Dawud. Just whatever you're going to read, because even
Just Quran. Huh? Just Quran.
Wallah ahsan shay.
Best Quran. Just make a commitment to read Quran in summer. Make commitment from today that every day I will read a little bit more Quran than the average days in school. Listen to Quran.
Sahih wallah. One of the programs I tried before, for a good while, learn something new every day. Like even there will be a day when I'm extremely busy and I go into bed, turn the lights off, then I remember, I did not learn anything new today. Turn the light on, pick a hadith book, read it, learn something new. And I mean something beneficial, like I learned that sharks have open gills, therefore they have to sleep in underwater currents. No, not like that.
Why
something,
not? Come on man, let it slide.
We get enough of that, khalas. All day. These kids, wallahi Sheikh, if you speak to them, they'll tell you information about a kind of bat that lives in Vietnam. Forget that bat for now.
For me, it's better than Kardashians. How many?
It is, everything in the world is better than that. Even like trash is better than, but that's one thing.
Or you are Jenny Depp team or...
his ex, who cares? And muhim, I want to advise also, last piece of advice, if you're going to travel, so you follow the fatwa that vacation's halal and you want to travel somewhere. Even when you travel somewhere, make the most of it. So I have a friend of mine, he visited 109 different countries. But before he goes to that country, he will study their history a little bit. Or sometimes he'll just watch videos, Anthony Bourdain or whatever it is. And he'll watch that episode. Then he'll know where to go. He'll know a little bit about the history. And then he says, I have a rule. When I go to a new country, I must learn how to greet them in their language and how to say thank you at least in their language. Don't be 100% American. You go to Japan, thank you, sir, thank you. Learn how to say thank you in Japanese.
I was in Vienna, so they speak German there.
Yeah.
So I tried to learn how to speak German, just to say thank you, something like that. So 2 words, how are you, thank you. So I practice, then I said it. Then the lady told me, sorry, I don't speak English.
That's great.
I'm so proud of my German. Then she said, English, don't speak English.
Wow.
I said, thank you.
Yeah.
That was German.
But here's my point. You will not imagine how learning something about someone's country comes to benefit you at some point. And I've got a lot of stories. I can say sentences in about, or maybe over 20 different languages.
Let's have one night, because we have to pray.
Okay.
Let's have one night about traveling.
All right.
We all travel.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. That'll be fun, that's right. Okay, I'll tell you about hot spring I was in, and somebody thought that I'm Yasser Qadi, and I let him go with it. I was so happy because I don't want tomorrow somebody saw me in a hot spring. He said, you're Sheikh Yasser Qadi? I said, yeah. I didn't say yes, because that's lie. I said, oh, thank you. I'll tell the story
That's
that
great.
night.
Jazakumullah khair.
As for next week, inshallah ta'ala, next Friday, we'll be doing, inshallah, 15 tips. We weren't able to do it last week. 15 tips on how to be likable and attractive, inshallah ta'ala.
You're not going to be here. So
Exactly.
we can't use you as an
No,
actual
you
example.
can't. Sheikh Kamal and Sheikh Walid, inshallah ta'ala, will have a special guest as well. Jazakumullah khair. And Sheikh Ibrahim, Jazakumullah khair.